And we have Councillor Kelly who's joining us. Thank you so much. Welcome everybody to the City Planning Committee meeting. I want to once again begin by the acknowledgement to the country in recognition of the deep history and culture of this place. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land upon which the city of Hobart was built. I acknowledge the determination and resilience of the Palawa people of Tasmania who have survived invasion, dispossession, and continue to maintain their identity, culture, and rights. I want to also acknowledge the cultural practice that they are continuing and pay my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging. Present here is myself, Chair of the City Planning, Mike Dutta, Alderman Zuko, Councillor Kelly, Alderman Bloomfield, Councillor Basalt, Councillor Dr. Sherlock, and Councillor Bill Harvey. Thank you. Apologies and leave of absence. We have one from the Lord Mayor, Anna Reynolds, Councillor Loberger, and Councillor Coates. Confirmation of minutes. Someone
So
like moved. All in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. Consideration of supplementary items?
Right,
no. Indications of pecuniary and conflict of interest? No. Transfer of agenda items? No. Planning authority items, consideration of items for deputation? There's nil. And committee acting as a planning authority under Rule 25 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures. And 6.1, applications under the Hobart Interim Planning Scheme. 3 Alexander Street, Sandy Bay, change of use to a boarding house.
Chair, it's been recommended for approval. If we did vote against this, how do you think it would go in the tribunal? And your usual advice would be that you back your officers.
Through your chair, I back my officers.
Okay, I'll move the application for approval, even though I don't think it's the highest kind of standard and quality for the area. However, it's been a boarding house or a student accommodation for a long time, and this is an additional 6 rooms that look like they've all got en suites and meet standards. So I'll move it for approval.
Any discussion, debate?
Sorry, I'll just ask what I asked before, just so that we have it on record. Just that sort of issue with regards to an individual that had sent through an email about a shared toilet and a shower. I'll just read the email. Through a bedroom for 12 plus tenants and 1 laundry for 18 plus tenants. Can you just clarify for me that's not actually the case, or thank you?
Through you, Chair. If I could take the committee to page 57 of the agenda, which shows the actual application that has been made for consideration tonight. That clearly shows that the 6 new proposed rooms each have en suites. So they're essentially contained within themselves and aren't reliant on facilities out of the room for toileting, etc. I would just check about the laundry. Sorry, just to follow on from that, page 58 of the agenda shows the upper floor, so level 1, and it might look a little bit unusual because some of the rooms are blanked out. That's just the way the application's shown, because there are no alterations proposed to those existing parts of the building.
So just to confirm, that one that's on page 58, where it's all blanked out and shadowed, and it only shows one picture of an ensuite with a bed, 1 toilet and bathroom. You're saying to me, sorry, through you, Chair, that all of those 12 bedrooms actually do have a toilet and bathroom. They're not all going to have to go through, those 12 people are not going to have to go through and use that one particular shower and bathroom, as they are all fully contained. Is that correct?
Through you, Chair, that is correct, and we can see that through other documents held by the Council relating to earlier applications. I absolutely confirm that each of those is self-contained, so is not reliant on that last bedroom. I will just take that one on notice and keep on looking.
There is a photo of a laundry area off the kitchen. I think, at the
Yes,
start.
so if I, through you, Chair, if I can take you again to page 58, the washing machine area is on the upper level, so that's part of the existing space. You can see the lighter shaded area, washing machines, and there's a clothesline area for communal use.
Any other questions?
Through you,
Councillor Kelly.
Chair, is that washing area closed off, or is it in an open area there?
Sorry, Chair, I'll just take a moment to check that.
I understand, for you, Chair, to the Director, that that was one of the complaints that we'd received, that this was in an open, exposed area. I'd just like confirmation of that, if I may.
Through you, Chair, if I could take the committee to page 60 of the agenda, that shows from a different perspective. You can see that the communal area, at least some of it, is outside. There's a paling fence, which, if you go back to page 58, you can see it is shown on the level as well. Looks like we're about to
68 was that?
60.
60 or 68?
So on page 58, you can see, again, the light shaded area has paling fence shown for surrounding that lighter area. So and the washing machines are actually down the side of that light shaded area. In fact, it's not shaded grey at all. It's actually unshaded, that area.
And it's quite permissible to have that as an outside area. There's no big deal about that, is there?
No.
And through you, Chair, again, one other concern was that the dimensions of these heights of ceilings and that, as done by building surveyor, was inconsistent with what was put forward. Do you have any comment on that, or it's not quite right?
Through you, Chair, those are the sorts of issues so obviously this is one approval against a certain framework, and then there will be another set of approvals, as you probably know from your own experience, that are required through the building phase. And if they get approval at planning, they may well get stopped at building if they haven't got all the right heights and things, but I imagine they have done that body of work and they know what they're doing.
Thank you. Look, I'd just like to make a comment, Chair, if I may. Yeah, this really is pushing the boundaries, isn't it? I mean, if it's been there, and at the end of the day, if it complies, upon your advice there's very little we can do if it's going to be sailed through TASCAT. So, yeah, not happy, Jan, but in light of that, I guess we are a bit hamstrung with adhering to the scheme. So, thank you, Chair.
Any other comments? Councillor
One
Pasol?
quick comment, that room, the existing room that has the toilet in the 12-bedroom area, I just noticed that that's been modified to be a disability access room. They've called it an adaptable room, but I'm assuming they mean that that's for disability. So it's a bigger room. They've taken out a bit of extra wall to make it a larger room. So I assume it's for wheelchair access.
Through you, Chair, I'm not sure about that because I don't think there's a lift to the top floor.
It doesn't comply with DDA?
It does.
I think there's ramps, isn't there?
Through you, Chair, I might just keep scrolling if there are any other comments.
Councillor Pasol, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We received, as we always do with these applications, feedback from neighbours, which is always positive, and I think it would be wise for the council to take the feedback on board. And I'd ask the director, when she's able to comment, whether or not we can pass that feedback on in a more official capacity to the developer in terms of the current tenants using certain areas for smoking and some of the impacts. It's obviously not a planning scheme issue, but it's comments that can make the neighbourhood better, that can help people come together in a more productive manner. I think it'd be helpful if we can just pass that on in good faith, if there's no problem with that, Director.
Through you, Chair, I can do that, yes.
Thank
Go as advice.
Okay.
You can actually
As
give
advice,
to
yeah.
the proponent.
Yeah.
Do you want to include that as advice? Is that okay?
I'm happy with whatever direction the director would like to take it in.
I would prefer to do that as an informal advice rather than an advice which gives the appearance of having taken into account non-planning scheme matters.
All right, good point. Any other comments?
I have a question.
Alderman Brunel.
They mention that the number of car parks is reducing, but the number of people are increasing. What's the legal requirement for this type of property for 18 people for a number of car parks?
Through you, Chair. The assessment has been done on the proposal, so the expanded number of occupants, and while it didn't meet what the scheme considers an acceptable solution, our development engineers are satisfied that it meets the performance criteria assessment. The scheme is a little bit more relaxed about parking than it would be if this was a multiple dwelling situation. That the parking requirements would be much higher if you had 18 different dwellings on one site. But because this is a boarding house arrangement, the scheme treats it differently, for better or for worse. So the parking requirements are lower than if this was considered to be a multiple dwelling scenario.
Any other comments? No, I just have two comments to make. One is that, I think our hands are tied simply because, we're looking at it as a planning matter, and the planning scheme and the rules are the rules that we have to abide by. And the other point with regards to this has already been mentioned, that when it goes to the building matter under the Building Act, those approvals need to be checked to go through. So I think that's the distinction we've got to make and accept. The other comment that I want to make is this: it appears that there is a lack with regards to the rules concerning the boarding house. So my question would be to the director later, can we begin making amendments to the planning scheme with regards to boarding house? And I can bring that later under a question. Now, if there is no other comments, no other questions, no other queries.
Chair, perhaps
Yes.
I can just come back to the question about the DDA. I just will identify again on page 58 to the upper right-hand corner, there is a ramp which will allow for a disabled access. So ignore my comments about the stairs. It is an accessible room.
Thank you.
Ramp for disabled.
Okay, no one else? I put the motion, those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? The motion has been carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.1, someone like to move?
Moved.
Move.
7.1 is...
Any questions, 7.1?
Delegated decision report.
Accepted? No? Those in favour?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 7.2,
Move.
Anything interesting in there?
Yeah, a couple of questions if I can.
yes, please.
Item 6, bus stop, 350 grand worth of bus stop alterations. Can you talk us through that at all?
Chair, we'll just take a moment to
okay.
check on that one.
All right, is there any other, while they're checking that? Is there any other question?
Yeah, item 11, the $3.7 million one.
Item 11.
Through you, Chair, I can indicate that the bus stop item is currently on hold, and perhaps we can provide you with some further information following this meeting.
Yep, that'd be fine.
And the other one was?
11. Item 11, 6 to 10 McCann Crescent, Lena Valley. Excellent, thank you.
And when will the 208 Argyle Street be coming to us?
Through you, Chair, next round.
Next
I
round?
know I said that last time, but it really will this time.
Any other questions? Councillor Kelly?
Through you, Chair, is the bus stop, is that an application by who? Did I?
Through you, Chair, I think that's an application by Straight Growth. We will need to take that on notice. We're not able to answer that off the top of our head
Right,
tonight,
yeah.
sorry.
I'll be interested to see more about that as well, yeah. Thank you.
Any other? Councillor.
Yeah, just number 19, the relocatable sauna. Yeah. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
A transportable sauna out the back of the existing medical centre down at Sandy Bay.
The what, sorry?
The existing medical centre? Consulting rooms down at Long Beach. Yes. Yeah.
So behind the back of that?
Yeah, in the car park at the back of that.
On that item, can I just raise that and I'm pretty sure the director will be aware as well, but there's at least 2 proponents for saunas on public land, including at Long Beach. I'm not sure how this fits into the planning scheme versus council versus operating business in a public space, but it seems potentially unfair that somebody's managed to jump the other 2 through the planning process. But I don't know if the director has any comments to make on
Well,
that.
through you, Chair, I can indicate that yes, we are aware of at least 2 suggestions that people might be able to use public land, and we are given that it's appropriate really in those circumstances to go out to a tender type expression of interest process. So that will happen. So that's the public land issue. If somebody has a separate application to do something on their private land, then that's a matter for them.
What this is?
Look, I'd like to make an observation that may assist us to going forward in the future. These are approved and delegated. Now, if they could be called up...
These are the ones that are coming, the other one was approved.
Yeah. To me, it would be, just to assist our staff, I think it would probably help our staff if the ones you're going to call up, if we actually email the director before the meeting, that way they'll probably provide us better answers when they get here. I'm just, because it's quite difficult when they're not necessarily prepared for some of the
good point.
questions. Okay, just if I may assist.
Thank you. Any other?
No.
Okay. I put that all in favour.
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Questions without notice? No question. I have one question with regards to the amendments to the planning scheme to the boarding houses. Do you think that can be taken on board?
Yes, I will take that on notice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
What would you have done if the answer had been no?
Any other questions? No? Someone move to close the meeting?
Yes.
Those in favour?
Aye.